Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Martians and aliens. We're not speciesists on this channel. Everybody's welcome. My name is Alan, and welcome to Mars, the second Genesis. The next panorama we're going to look at is from the same sol. There were two sets of panoramas taken that day, and we're going to take a wee look at this one in colour in X3D. Okay, for our first anomaly is this wee thing. I don't know what it is. It could be a small structure. As we can see here, we could have some sort of entrance. This could be the entrance. If we look at it a bit closer, we can see this piece is possibly sculpted. If we look at the shape, the arc, and we've got 1, 2, 3 lines, parallel lines there. And we've got this white stuff here, which is a different material from the rest of it. And just the actual shape of it, it's crying out structure to me. How big it is, I don't know. If we look at this here, we've got an angled piece as well. And this here looks sculpted. But if you just look at the overall shape, it certainly doesn't look like a natural rock. For our next anomaly, we'll start at the top and we'll work our way down. Now if you look at these two bits, this bit on the left is triangular and it's got a cutout, and this piece here, we have this curve piece. It's perfect. It's a line and then a perfect curve, and it's got a curve here. This piece here, we have some sort of carving at the top. And this piece, if you look at the shape here, I mean, this is sculpted, and this as well, we've got these kind of open pieces here, and we've got two parallel lines at the back, and we've got this bit here. And this here, again, it doesn't look natural. And we've got this bit at the front here, with the bit sticking out. Could be a bit of rebar. And we've got this here. We see we have two bits sticking out. This, it doesn't look like a rock. I mean, you can see we've got a straight line that's got a different material at the back. We know it's got these bits here. For our next series of anomalies, I'll just pan through this. Now we've actually seen this wee fella here. We'll take a wee closer look at each piece individually, but you can see there's an awful lot of unusual looking pieces here. And if you look in the sand, you can see outlines that it certainly doesn't look like ripples in the sand. So we shall start on the left hand side. This is the item we've seen before. Look at all this. This certainly doesn't look like natural rocks. It just looks like a debris field. And then we've got this here. I'll zoom in a bit closer. And we've got this here with this. I mean, look at these pieces all over. And this here is definitely not a rock. Look at the shape of that. Almost looks like some weird hooded figure. And we've got this perfect triangle. Now, they've actually done something with these images, and the edges look almost like saw teeth. But I would imagine if you took their garbage out, you'd see that it would be smooth edges. So I wouldn't pay much attention to this jagged edge. Just imagine that to be smooth. I mean, there's not one piece of this that actually looks like rock when you examine it. Not one piece. I mean, look at this. This could be the entrance to a structure. And this here. Just looks like a debris field. These two bits here, you can clearly see they're not natural rocks. This bit at the back here, I mean, when does rocks ever do that? Very unusual. And we've got this block here. But look at in the sand, the way, it's perfectly straight. I mean, that's not natural. I mean, sand doesn't do that. So you can actually see, like, these are part of what's below the sand. Yeah, NASA, you've got us all fooled. These are definitely rocks. And no other explanation for it. It's a rock. It's nothing more than a rock. Oh my God. Aye, right, NASA. Okay, let's take a wee look at this. Oh look, there's another 90-degree angle. And we've got this. Now look very close at this. That is not a rock. That's sculpted. Look at that's a perfect 90-degree angle there. And we've got these two parallel lines here. And this, you can clearly see this is sculpted. We've got a hard edge in here. See right in there? And this piece here. And we've got something, maybe hieroglyphs at the front there. And we've got a 90-degree angle here. And what's this? Some more sculpted form. We've got a wee triangle there. Yeah, NASA, you've got us all fooled. And then we've got this pile of stuff. See at the end here? I kind of cut it short. Well, this one here is showing you this end, so we're seeing a better view of it. And we'll take a closer look. We'll just zoom on in. Now you can clearly see this is sculpted. I have no doubt these wee Martians can fair sculpt in this piece here. Looking at that for distance, you would say, yeah, could possibly be rocks. Rocks, my arse. Look at this. I mean, what can I say? They've got us all fooled. I mean, they've degraded these images to the point that, look at all these jaggy edges. If you look at that, just imagine that to be a smooth edge. And the same with this. You know, all the edges you see jagged, they're smooth because they've put all this texture on it, and it's distorting the image. It's like looking through a bathroom window, a mottled glass window, and it distorts things so you can only get the kind of basic shape. You can't see the details, and that's what we're seeing. Thanks for that, NASA. At first you might look at this and think, the first thing that popped into my head was a pumpkin head. Well, it's not a pumpkin, because it's obviously not the right colour, but I believe it is a head. So let's take a closer look at this, shall we? A couple of eyes, a nose, a mouth, and an ear. So could it be a sculpture that's maybe a structure, a sculpted structure, to look like a blue pumpkin head? Could be. But I think it's just a sculpted form, which is a structure. Looking at this as the eyes and the mouth and the nose on its own, you might think, well, I don't know. But when you see this, is it too much of a coincidence that there's an ear-looking thing, a sort of mouth? Is it pareidolia? I don't know, but it's certainly not a normal rock. And we've got this bit at the back, and you can see a light-coloured, perfect right angle. We've got this here, it looks, we've not got enough detail here. I've sharpened it up as much as possible. However, if you've seen the original image, it's a miracle I managed to get this amount. Now, at first you could think, oh, that's just rocks. Well, let's take a closer look. We'll zoom on in there, I'll pan through it and let you see. It's only when you take a very close look at these things. So this could be, you wouldn't be wrong in thinking, yeah, that's just a rock with a slit in it. But if you look at the part at the front here, the shape of it, and how uniform that crack is, and then it fades as it comes to the back, and then we've got this piece at the front, and that's obviously sculpted. And let's look at this piece. We've got a symmetrical, I don't know what you call that shape, and we've got this line here, and then we've got this perfect arc, and we've got this at the back here. And that's a different material, and this seems to be a different material, or it's painted or whatever. And then we've got the bit at the front. Although we don't have the greatest of detail, we can see parts here that look like it's sculpted. every one of these things on their own, you could say, oh, well, could be a coincidence, it could be a fluke of nature. But when you look at this as a whole, and the amount of anomalies that look like small structures within a small area, maybe a square mile, could it be natural? Absolutely, 100% no, because there's too many of them. Honestly, how could all that be together? It just wouldn't happen in nature. Maybe 1, 2 at the most as a fluke, but no. They've not got me fooled. Ain't going to pull the wool over my eyes. And let's pan through this one. Again, it's only when you look close. This is our main anomaly here. Now, looking at that, is that a rock? No. Definitely not. Look at this part here. Sculpted. This part. Look at the part at the back here. I'll zoom in and we can see we've got parts sticking out there. And we've got this part here, which we can see is sculpted again. And the same here, we've got 2 cutouts here. And it's like a perfect arc. But if we look at in the sand, we seem to see something in the sand that looks as if these are part of the one thing. And we can follow the lines in the sand. Look at this here. Now, when we look at the thing as a whole, could this be a complete structure and we're just seeing the top of it? Because we can see in the sand, it forms a kind of shape. And here is a closer view of this mysterious hooded thing. That's what it looks like to me. But let's look at this in closer inspection. It actually looks as if it's part of this. This is part of the same thing. And this here at the front, this is very interesting as well. And I wouldn't pay much attention to the ragged edge. I would imagine it's smooth. And then there's this. I'll give you a pan through. The main anomaly is this piece here. We seem to have some sort of entrance here that goes in, and this is a sculpted form. And then we've got this here. But if you look closely at each of these pieces, these are sculpted forms. And here we have a loaf of bread. Now, let's pan through this. Now this one is heavily distorted with whatever distortion they put into this. You can still see it's not rocks. Now if you look at this bit of the background, it looks pretty sculpted. This almost looks hollow. So guys, that's all for this episode. And don't forget the images used in this week's episode. The link will be in the description and you can download them free of charge from our Google Drive. So I'll catch you in the next video.